Hello and welcome. Today we've got Alan Fountain and we are going to be discussing the FDA approving the Pfizer vaccine, if it's true or not, if it's media propaganda or a legality twist, because many of us are confused. We're hearing different stories. And also we're going to be discussing the vaccines being a placebo. Are they dangerous? Of course, we don't recommend them, but some of us think there's a twist because Trump is pushing them. So we are going to be discussing that also. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to our Telegram channels and to nicholasveniamin.com for my free email updates. And if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, I will leave the link below in the description for the full interview. Alan, thank you for joining me. And how are you, sir?
Hello, Nicholas. I'm doing great, except I cheated and ate a half a gallon of butter pecan ice cream, which causes me to be a little phlegmy. So if I have to hack a little bit, know that I cheated. That was my treat to myself. But other than that, I'm great.
No worries. That sounds fantastic. So
I'm here. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're hearing two stories. We're hearing the FDA has approved the vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine. And then we're hearing that it's not that they've approved it, they've twisted it. And what they've done is they've extended the emergency. Okay. And some people think the emergency has been extended so they can keep issuing legally the experimental vaccine because it can only be issued under an emergency. So what's the actual situation with the Pfizer vaccine, where the media says it's been approved by the FDA?
Well, I'll tell you, I've done a fair amount of research. As we realize, a lot of things are happening very quickly because the most emails that I have gotten recently have been about anger and frustration with Trump being pro-vaccine or the illusion of that he is pro-vaccine. And what people don't realize is that a lot of people that they're in all different types of stages of awareness and discernment. People that have been along this journey, I've talked about timeline 1, timeline 2, and timeline 3. We have Delta 3s, Delta 2s, and Delta 1s. If you go back a year, 2 years, or 3 years. So we're right now, a lot of cognitive dissonance is happening among the movement, where even a lot of people that are Trump supporters that might not have really done their research going back into what happened during the calm before the storm, which was 2017. The calm before the storm is what happened when very few people, except for the military, had viable information. If you didn't follow this movement, which I recorded in my blog going back to 2017, you're kind of lost right now. We're in two different phases. We had the Trump 4-year phase, and now we're in the Administrator Biden sting operation phase. It's just like when the map where we had the Obama and the Hillary 16-year plan. This is the anecdote 8-year plan. So we're in the sting operation, but in order to understand what's going on right now and not mistrust Trump, you have to have an awareness and discernment of what happened. I'm going to name a few key things to lead us up to explaining what's going on with the FDA approval and where we are now. So hopefully people can understand it and not panic. I've gotten lots of emails of panicking people regarding Trump going along with the vaccine and also with this FDA approval. People are thinking they've been betrayed, and that's not the case. What's happening is it's a sting operation, and we're in the final 2-week phase of knocking out the 4 major institutions, which is the NIH, the National Institute of Health, the World Health Organization, the CDC, and the mainstream media. So I'll lead up to how the FDA does that, but let me go back and remind you what happened in Calm Before the Storm. Calm Before the Storm, all the military operations took place before the Q Digital soldiers got their decode releases on October 28th, 2017. October 25th or 28th. So that's what began the information warfare with the advanced level decoders and Q Digital soldiers. So I documented from that phase on everything that happened. We had the Bilderberg Group and the industrial corporate complex. What Trump did is he made not only the corporate industrial complex, 12,000 plus CEOs, capitulate, he removed them from office and installed an agent that would go along with the White Hat agenda plan. So he removed these New World Order agents that was helping the industrial complex, the corporate industrial complex. And also we had the capitulation of world leaders that took place. He went around to all these countries around the world, and we have it documented in the capitulation articles. The leaders capitulated. The average person in America, even some of the Trump supporters, are not aware of this level. They can't understand. They're looking at Afghanistan, and they're looking at the FDA approvals as if though these are business as usual in America. Until you understand that we were the three city empire states, and that we were part of, Spygate was part of collusion with Britain, until you understand how our system works, you are lost. So unless you go back and look, I'll explain to you how the FDA approval is actually part of the sting operation, which we're in right now. I know you've done something, you did a great video with -48 and with Tom Numbers on gematria. So I'm gonna put in one of the gematria things right now to let people know that we're in the sting operation, which is the storm is now here. We used to be in the calm before the storm during the first 4 years. During Administrator Biden, we're in the storm is here phase. And from a gematria decode, 1092 is sting operation. So also in 1092 sting operation, we have the storm is here. We also have darkness to light, and we have God's chosen children. So God's children are we're all God's children, but some of the people that were blessed with this discernment gift to go along with decoding, and be a part of the digital soldiers and the new media. I think God blessed a different element of discernment and comprehension. So people, I want to tell you, I recorded what happened in the past, and I'm looking at this now, and I can look at it without fear. But people are panicking, and because of this twist in what's going on with the Donald Trump rally and also with the FDA. But I wanted to give a little backstory validating that what happened behind the scenes, the white hats are in control, and not to panic to think that all of a sudden we're not. But and your question was about the Pfizer. Could you repeat your question back to me, or any updated questions since then? And we'll go forward into what's going on now.
We want to understand exactly why the FDA has approved the Pfizer vaccine, or they have approved it illegitimately, or there's a twist in the legalities where they haven't really approved it.
Okay.
And that's to create propaganda and fear. And on the other side, on the contrary, they also, if they have, approved the vaccine, they have to disclose the ingredients. And I think that's when we're going to have a big explosion and backlash from the people. There's going to be a lot of explosion there. And I think that's a trap for them. And they're really going to step into their own traps. And I think this is one of the pieces that we're getting closer to the end game of the chess.
This is one of the pieces. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to give you a summary, but I'm going to attach an article I did earlier where I put in 2 video podcasts. I'm going to put this video podcast and also from these 2 experts who explain what's going on with the FDA approval. I'm going to give you a summary now of that, and then you can go back and listen to their details. One of them is from Dr. Jane Ruby. She goes into some of the FDA stuff that is very detailed, and also she goes in there and talks about how 50% of the population got a saline placebo. We weren't aware of this. I had alluded to this a while back that I thought ever since anyone connected to the Trump family took a vaccine or spoke positively about it, that it had been saline. That was one of the things in our videos from the past where I had said possibly this is one of the scenarios. She validates this and explains why that is true. So my discernment is that anytime Trump has mentioned positively about the vaccine, it has 2 different positive benefits. One, he knows the persons who are getting a shot after he mentions that are allegedly safe. Also, it's optics. When he wanted us to boo him like they did at the rally, Trump got booed at the rally on Saturday in Alabama when he mentioned this positivity about the vaccine. That made a huge media story with Trump associated with the vaccine. They were able to print that Trump's audience turns on him. So that got all kinds of media bringing the narrative in to focus on the vaccine and what's about to come out with the FDA approvals. So it was brilliant Sun Tzu, Trump genius 5D chess. It's not that he's about to take us out and he's part of the New World Order. A lot of people have not researched, they're still in fear mode. So that fear mode of not knowing what happened in the calm before the storm is allowing them to stay in their lower frequency fear. But another authority that I'm going to post the video on there is from a Pfizer analyst, former employee named Karen Kingston. She goes into a long, about a 15-minute interview with Stu Peters on what happened. She's an insider at Pfizer. She explains it brilliantly. And what she explains is that right now, this is a chess move to take out, as I said earlier, the NIH, the CDC, the FDA, and the mainstream media in one bowling ball. And what's going to happen is there's legal semantics about who is a marketer and who was the manufacturer and who was the distributor, et cetera. All these are legal terms. And what has happened is the FDA, the media, the CDC, and the NIH have all been the marketers of this, which makes them under the Nuremberg Code guilty of crimes to humanity. So what it is by Trump having all of these leaders of the corporate industrial complex under the Bilderberg Group capitulate in 2019, the SES, the leaders of these corporations, he was able to manipulate what he needed to happen 2 to 3 years ahead down the road that nobody has been following. So these FDA being a marketer is different. So what's going to happen is there's a clause, she explains it brilliantly in here. I didn't know the legal semantics or the clauses in the contracts, but over the next 2 weeks, the FDA has to disclose everything that was in that vaccine that they didn't put in the leaflet. Allegedly, the leaflet insert to the vaccine has a different ingredient than what is actually in there if you do an analysis on the vaccine. So this is forcing them within the next 14 days, they have to come public or they're also guilty under the Nuremberg Code. So Pfizer right now, if they don't come forward, they have somewhat of, they're guilty of civil liabilities, but I think that they can bypass the Nuremberg Code if they come through within the next 14 days and verify what's in there, because there's a validation of what graphite, what's the word? There's something
I think it's graphene, graphene, yeah. which encourages cancer to develop.
Yeah. So there's all of these elements in there that were allegedly in there that is not reported in the insert. So this forces that to come to fruition within the next 14 days. So that's a very positive thing. So things are not as fearful and out of control as they appear. This is the sting operation. People need to understand that Trump had the leaders of the World Bank, the leaders of the countries. He's been going from the very top of the pyramid down each day. Started out with the world central bankers, and every day he's been coming down that pyramid ever since he was elected in 2017. I'm not sure exactly where we're on the pyramid, but right now he has to make the public who hears him in the media. There's a lot of people out there that are not aware that we're in a sting operation. There's a lot of a New World Order enablers and participants who think that they're part of the elite 5% system, the 4% enablers and the 1% world leaders up under the 13 bloodline families. When they were arrested, they were all chipped or either executed, and they can't really communicate down lower ranks because they really didn't deal with the lower ranks. They had soldiers and lieutenants and this mafia up under them. So these lower level lieutenants in this Khazarian mafia who are in our public domain, they're hearing that Trump is pro-vaccine that he's not speaking out against it. So to them, they think he's still part of the New World Order that they're part of. So this is a slip of tongue. So if you're somebody out there, you're a human trafficker, and you were to hear that, oh, Trump is exposing us, you would quit doing your operation. One reason why Administrator Biden is in there is to help with a sting operation, because all of his minions that are aware that he is a deep state, they're continuing all these things. We can't arrest these people and take out the institutions without without a certain level of evidence. So we're in the documenting current evidence of their crimes. So even though we need to expect this, we need to have this physical evidence in order to prosecute them and show to the public, especially if some of these people who were treasonous and taking us to the New World Order will be executed or get long-term jail sentences. So we're in the movie phase. And so it's my opinion that Trump, and my discernment, that he pivoted many different moves along the chess game in order to take out the deep state, which is the New World Order, and these major institutions. This is not about arresting an individual. Like I said last week, they're taking out the institutions. And this FDA event is going to take out 4 of the main ones that are destroying our civilization, which is the media. They're all going to be found complicit in conspiracy, likely under RICO Act. So that's what's happening. It's not that Trump has abandoned us and we're all going into this dark age. That's not the case. You know.
Very interestingly, you said earlier that some of the vaccines are placebos. I think you mentioned 50% of them are placebos. Now, someone said to me, one of my sources said to me that the vaccine manufacturers actually do not have the physicality to create, to have the facility to create that capacity of vaccines that the media says they've issued out to the public. So some of them, or most of them, or half of them must be placebos. What are your thoughts about that?
That's a very good supporting empirical evidence to this statement, because this is, I'm basing this research on on both Karen Kingston and also Dr. Jane Ruby. So she has the evidence as a doctor and the research to explain that. Allegedly, 36% of the population has taken the vaccine. And of that 36%, half of it, 50%, has gotten a saline solution. So, and she also goes into explaining how some of the legalities is that one reason why more people might be safe from the vaccine is that the sinister vaccine had to have a very specific saline to mix with the vaccine when you injected it, and that was not included in the original packages because it had to be at a certain temperature as well. So there's a lot of pivots that have happened, it appears, behind the scenes that as soon as Trump and their White Hats got information of something being dangerous, I feel like they did a pivot or did something covertly to try to save as many people as they could as soon as they got the information. So, but the 2 videos that I'm putting in here, possibly 3 with these experts, I listen to them 2 and 3 times, and I'm very confident at what's happening. So I advise people to go in and listen to these after we post this video later today, the article that you'll attach.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So what would happen with, the ingredients coming out in 2 weeks? What if they miss some ingredients out that doesn't benefit the deep state? They don't want to be exposed. What do you think? What are the consequences?
Well, it appears, though, from what I'm hearing from these experts, is that they're violations of the Nuremberg Code. There's the intended bioweapon from China and a collaboration with the New World Order partners. Like my initial research, this hasn't been in the public domain, and I'm not sure what's going to be held as state secrets. We're a country, so we have a fiduciary duty to protect our patriotism and reputation around the world. Even though some of our New World Order leaders, like Harvard University, did a collaboration with Wuhan Lab, that may not come out into the main end story, just purely to protect our reputation under state secrets. But these, the elements of the people that are guilty in our country is prolific. So a lot of this stuff is going to be altered to protect people. But the ingredients that are in there, according to what she reads of, is pretty extensive. And allegedly it was to collaborate with the 5G devices that were instituted all over America. There's a video circulating with an electrician flipping up a street light, and he shows the 5G devices and all the street lights. So allegedly, had not the White Hats and Trump not intervened, we had the technology in place that had we all gotten the negative vaccine and they flipped the 5G, that would have been what activated a instant kill. So we've escaped that.
Right. There is many concerns that there is plasma, hydrogel, nanobots in the vaccines. Yeah. Now, when the ingredients are disclosed by Pfizer or the FDA, what if they found out, and at the worst case scenario for the sleepers who've taken the vaccine, I do not recommend the vaccine at all. But as a best case scenario for the sleepers who've taken the vaccine, the good guys turn around and say, well, this nanobot device that can remotely control what's in the vaccine, the White Hats have taken in charge. They've taken over the technology, and they might use that to raise the consciousness. Do you think that there's an advanced technology in there to raise the consciousness?
I've always thought that if anything were to be slipped into those shots, that would have a positive impact. These lower vibration people who are not awake enough, that are under this MK Ultra, I often thought, could that substitution be something that elevated consciousness to go to this 4D and 5D? There's a lot of us that are already in 4D consciousness. It was the reason why we have the ability to discern and see this. So I thought maybe it could have been that. I don't have any research on that, but it makes sense. From this expert's opinion, she claims that the hydrogel did have a integral component, but she thinks they might have switched it with regular saline, that hydrogel either could have been to be a booster to make the negative aspects happen when the 5G came in, or who knows if we find out later down the road that it is something to help raise consciousness. But I still don't think that they could do that legally without consent. So it makes me think that the hydrogel was really part of the negative component, since it's going to be attributed to these people that are part of the New World Order, masters.
Awesome. I want to give credit to Michelle Fielding. She says that there could be a twist. She's the one that says this with the with the hydrogel and the plasma to raise the consciousness. Now, people they're making their own free will to get out there and take the vaccine. Now, as a worst case scenario, if it was up to the deep state, they were all going to be killed off. But maybe there's a twist here where the White Hats have hijacked the technology from the Black Hats, and they're going to use this to raise the consciousness.
I'll tell you, that's plausible, and I'll tell you why it's plausible. I use empirical evidence when I make my discernment, things that I said I'm a litmus test for this operation. I'll tell you that I truly believe that I was raised in a trauma grooming program in order to be a Manchurian candidate for the Black Hats. I really feel that the White Hats took over any technology that they had advanced in me and used it to help me on my authentic path of doing good. So I think if there was any covert actions done to me in this pedophile ritual trauma abuse grooming program of the clown agency, that when they took over, I was fighting it from my God vibe and God frequency anyway. And it's why a lot of this stuff didn't work. But in my book that I write about, I go in and talk about the stories that I haven't told the public about, how I've met with people. One of the things is that I'm trying to figure out my life to help that make sense. The scenario you're talking about is Marilyn Monroe's producer of her last movie was my mentor. They were very close to the Kennedy family. So Marilyn's association with the Kennedy family, and what we don't know whether or not she was assisting with some of the White Hat stuff or what was going on. One of my mentors who brought me into his life, I was 29 years old, was the producer who fired her from her last movie before she was allegedly murdered. Who knows if she was murdered or she went into hiding? We don't know. With what we know now, that how the system works, we don't know who's in hiding, who really died authentically in history, or who was part of the White Hat. I just know that I have a history of all these mysterious people that are from the 1% families being in my life. I wasn't born with a silver spoon. So for these people to wind up in my life, it has to be part of these elite programs where I was groomed to have something to do in the future. So her having that wisdom, I'm gonna go back and listen to her videos, and I'm going to find out what she's saying, because I've often thought, and I even said months ago, that maybe these vaccines are to help the people who cannot shift their consciousness naturally. Maybe there's some component in there that's going to help them go in and accept this new reality and move into 4D a lot easier. Because cognitive dissonance is a real thing. People could commit suicide if they can't comprehend this, and the truth has to come out on a level enough to arrest these FDA people. So I'm gonna go back and listen to her videos. Thank you for sharing who she is. And I haven't listened to her videos, but I will.
No, she's wonderful. You see, I just want to let the viewers know that myself and Alan Fountain, we are no way recommending the vaccine or trying to say it's good. We're not pro-vaccine. We don't believe in putting anything in our bodies, especially when you're healthy and you have no symptoms, especially that. And if you're ill, you eat organic food. You do not put medication. The cures are out there. They're grown by the earth. All we're saying is that there could be a twist here to trick the deep state with this 5-dimensional chess game. And we have to be open-minded. There's a reason why Trump has mentioned it. He hasn't mandated it, but we're hearing with nanobots and hydrogel with technology, and there could be a high possibility that the White Hats have hijacked this technology, just like they have with the weather technology, and they're using it to flood down the underground tunnels as well. But Alan Fountain, thank you very, very much. It's been a wonderful honor to have you on my show. And is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
Yes, if I could, please, I would like to ask people to follow me. I'm having trouble with my Telegram. If someone could email me and tell me how to get rid of this horrible bot that it's called the Poop Master. I cannot have a post or any activity on my Telegram. Once they do, this vile bot comes up and it's very offensive. I don't know how to get rid of it. But I'm also on Getter at Alan Fountain on Getter. And also, please continue to follow me on Telegram. So hopefully I'll have this fixed. But also, thank you for supporting me and the people that are making donations, and for making your commitment to help me get through to this rally that's happening in October where I'm a speaker. Thank you for continuing that and supporting me. And I'm going to put a link with these experts' articles and their video in this link to this video. And that's it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alan Fountain. I will leave your links below so that people can follow you and check your intel and also your articles that you write. Thank you. And we'll speak again very soon. Goodbye.
Thank you, Nicholas.